This is crazy. There's got to be a better way. Does anyone know how to paint pencils?
They could just dip them in paint. They squirt paint into it.
Oh, one pencil at a time.
Spray it on with a paintbrush. Spray it on.
It's probably gone in and there's bits of squirters on each side.
The bare pencils are stacked on a holding shelf before being fed into the painting machine. Each pencil is passed through a hole in a rubber disc. This applies the first coat of colour or lacquer. The colour dries as the pencils move along a conveyor belt. After another coat of colour or lacquer, it's time to dry again. The painting process is repeated several times until you end up with a great shiny finish. Who was to know that the painting is done by a sophisticated machine that can paint thousands of pencils an hour? The black and coloured graphite inside a pencil are made quite differently. Black lead pencils are made from graphite and clay and are kiln fired. It's the mix of graphite and clay that determines the hardness or degree of a pencil. Whereas coloured pencils are a mixture of white clay, pigments and waxes, and they're not kiln dry. Okay, this is really hard. I understand the painting process, but some pencils, like this one, have stripes down the side and a painted bit on the end. It must be really hard for a machine to do something like this.
They spray it first and then paint it with a fine paintbrush.
One stripe would go over, then people would turn it around and it would go back and then get striped again.
They have different machines that do one, then they go through a different one, do the other colour.
To achieve the stripe, the pencils are actually passed through another rubber disc with holes in it. This lets a different coloured lacquer through each hole, so you end up with a stripe. To identify the type or colour, many of the pencils have an end cap. To do this, the pencils are put in a tray and dipped into a lacquer bath.